Okay, here it is. Worksheet number 1, slope-intercept form. First question. Oh, okay, worksheet 2. We'll get there. The savings problem, we will talk about that. Okay, anything else from page 1 here? It is super important, guys, that you label what your variables mean so that I can grade your question based on how you label it. I didn't define the variables for you. So x equals number of albums. Every word problem you should label the variables. Albums you can buy. Y equals money left on gift card. Okay, and then I'm going to write down, this is a good strategy for word problems, which are coming later this week, is define your variables and then write down a few points. Okay? For example, I'm going to try to use the information it's giving me and write down a point. So I have $30 on a gift card. That's a Y value, the way that I've labeled my variables. How many can I, and the gift card will allow me to purchase 5 albums. So that means that I can purchase 6 albums with $30. The next point, 5 albums would mean 24, 5. How much are they each? $5 each? Okay, $5 each. This is just how I define my variables. Can I not add? They're $6 each. That's why I was trying to think. 24. Why can't I add, guys? What's wrong with me? Yeah, there it is. That's what's wrong. Okay, got it. Thank you. Okay, so 5 albums for $30. There it is. 4 albums for $24. ... You can see the linear pattern. So how would you write an equation in this particular case? Okay, so the slope is $6 and a point is $5.30. Just in the way that I labeled it. Maybe you labeled it differently. Y minus Y1. Slope x minus x1. Oh, it appears as though it's just y equals 6x. That's it. Yes?
If it's money left on card, is that before or after purchasing?
I'm going to say that they hand you a $30 gift card, which is why I started there. So you're starting with, it depends upon how you define your variables. So left on the gift card, number of albums you can buy. So I did this as number of albums you can buy. I could have defined that as number of albums I bought.
Yeah.
Okay, so it really depends on how you label that. And then it would be switched a little bit, but similar information, which however you label your variables, I will grade your equations based on that, which is why I need you to label them. Okay, anything else on the first page? Thanks. Okay, page 2. I'm assuming the question here is maybe 31. Yeah, 31? Okay, I'm going to do it without a calculator, guys, because you should be able to do that. So far, we have not hit the calculator portion of the course. We will eventually. We're just not there yet. Okay? All right, I'm going to make a set of axes here because this is slope-intercept form. This is M. This is N. This is money. This is number of minutes. Right? Money remaining on the gift card. Money left. Okay. As a function of the number of minutes, number of minutes. So it's actually very similar to that first question we just did. So 25, okay, and my slope is negative. Now that's 15 over 100 if you were thinking of counting slope. Just think about how far over you're going to have to go to get down to 0. But notice this is not necessarily to scale, but I do know it's a negative slope. Okay, context, domain, and range. Well, obviously, I can't have less than 0 minutes. And I can't have less than 0 money on your card. It doesn't work after that, right? $0, no more minutes. Looking at this, the maximum number of money is $25. What's my maximum number of minutes? That point right there. Okay, how do you do domain and range? You look at a graph. Try to graph it. Okay, so I need to know this point right here, which has a y coordinate of 0. So let's maybe plug it in and solve. 0 equals 25. I highly suggest you turn that into 15 over 100 because I don't want to divide with decimals. And solve for n. Yeah, we're going to reduce in just a second. I prefer positive numbers if I have a choice, so I added my n to the other side. And before I continue, I'm going to divide by 5. Right, I'm just going to reduce my fraction. Okay, so 3 over 20n equals 25. And then I'm going to solve for n by multiplying by 20 over 3. I realize you're like, this is maybe a little tedious. However, you don't have a calculator, so fractions are actually the next easiest thing to work with. All right. 25 times 20. Yeah, 500 over 3. N equals 500 over 3. It's okay, guys, to do a little arithmetic over there. I am going to leave it at 500 over 3, though. Where's this maximum point? 500 over 3. Could you divide it into a decimal? Sure. 100. I can't do arithmetic up in the front. It's not my thing. 500 divided by 3. 1, 6. You should know how to do this, guys. Just throwing that out there. 6 repeating. There you go. It's good for you. 166 minutes and 2/3. That's your maximum number of minutes with $25. I know it's not a thing anymore, but you used to have a calling card to make calls because cell phones didn't exist. I know. It's not part of your world. Okay. Page 2. Anything from, we'll go the top half here. 1, 2, or 3? Four or 5? Right, we're starting to look at word problems because come Friday we're actually going to do some word problems together. So you're just starting to look at them now. 4 or 5? Take a good look at this one up here. See that? How you don't know what the y-intercept is? Means you shouldn't be using it. Make sure you pick out actual integer coordinates that you can use. Okay? I'll try to make the graphs as clear as possible. I will give you integer coordinates to use, or I will label the points for you. But don't use points that aren't labeled, that you can't read clearly. Okay. Yes. Back page. Yeah, okay. Oh, remember, we have formats of equations. Okay. You have one of each. Write an equation for each people or each person. So we have Adam, who makes $7 a week. I'm just going to label it A so that I know this is Adam. A of X, okay, where X is number of weeks. Okay, and so the Y value is obviously the money, but because I have 4 equations, I want to give them a name. A of X equals 7X. So every week he gets $7. Bobby kept his savings $300. So Bobby, no matter what, was equal to $300. Kathy, I gave you a graph format, which is clearly labeled. Kathy has a y-intercept of 30, and it appears to be a slope of 5. Notice I'm counting here, right? A slope of 5, because that point was the next one that was labeled. So 5x plus 30. And the next one, Dan, is given to you. Okay, we have one of each format. And now I'm going to ask you to answer some questions. How much had Kathy saved after half a year? Okay, so that's 26 weeks. Notice that I didn't give you all the data. I just gave you enough to predict the trend. Okay. 26 weeks. Kathy of 26. I'm not going to plug it all in, guys. I'm just going to set it up. Okay. How much did Dan have at the same time? Dan of 26. Kathy of 26. Okay. After how many weeks did Kathy have 210? Okay, so I want to know when Kathy had the output of 210. Means I'm solving for the input. So I take Kathy and I set it equal to 210. Could you have made a table of values for 52 weeks and just found the answer? Yeah, but it's a little bit slow. Right? Algebraically is much faster. How many weeks, after how many weeks did Dan? Okay, Dan have 210. When was the, oh, this is a good one. Okay, when was the difference between Kathy and Dan $60? Okay, they are in different formats. You might want to compare the same format. And so I'm going to sketch a quick picture of what Kathy looks like, because I already have it. Starts at 30 and it goes up. Okay, and this is Kathy. And next, I'm going to draw a picture of what Dan looks like. Dan starts at 300 and goes down. I zoomed out. I zoomed way out, because I need this to be good for a whole year. When is their difference 60? Well, twice, right? When is their difference 60? once Dan has more, once Kathy has more. How'd you set it up?
So I just did the absolute value of 5x plus 30 minus 300 minus 5x equals 60.
Yes. Okay, so hold on. I'm going to use the abbreviations because we haven't quite done absolute value, so I'm going to write it both ways. When is their difference? When is their difference? That's a subtraction, 60, which really means when is this 60, but when would Dan have more? Assuming their difference is positive there. Right? When does Kathy have $60 more? When does Dan have $60 more? These equations would end up solving to the same thing. Right? Absolute value is what's coming next. Okay? Find the week with the largest difference between Kathy and Dan. Okay, I have a little sketch up here. Yes?
When I tried to solve for those two, I just got like 30 plus 300 or something like that.
Wait, 30? You should not have lost your x's because they distribute your negative. You should end up with 10x. So when I do Kathy minus Dan, I get 5x plus 30 minus 300 minus 5x. And so you end up with minus minus, you get 10x minus 270 equals 60. So the x's should not cancel out. They should not cancel out. Make sure you're distributing that negative when I substitute in so that you end up with a 10x. Okay, largest difference. Well, Kathy starts at $30 and Dan starts at $300. What's their difference? It's $270. Week 0, their difference is $270. That's just comparing the intercepts. Because one person's going up, one person's going down. They're getting closer, right? Think about the problem and where the potential answer could occur. Well, they're getting closer, and then as you come towards the end of the year, they're getting further away. Potentially weak. Now, I believe this says it's only good for 1 year, so I'm going to say week 52, and I would just compare at week 52. And so you'd have to figure it out. Week 52, and figure out how far apart they actually are. I don't remember what the answer key says, but it's not the answer, it's the process and how to get there. Set them equal. That's where they intersect. Find the week when savings were double that of the other. In whose favor? One is double the other. It's a bunch of little equations that you're setting up to solve. Never. Pretty sure the answer is never. They're never going to get $400 within 52 weeks. Okay? Within 52 weeks. Because they're never going to get $400. I think maximum they get $330. Okay. Feel free to come in and ask me more questions about it.